Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell.
Yo, be a father. If not, why bother, son? A boy can make them, but a man can raise one. Be a father to your child. Be a father to your child.
Yo, yo, yo. We good?
Levels is good. Check.
Levels are good.
Wait. I hear.
Yeah.
I heard an echo. No, I don't hear it anymore.
Is it me? 1, 2?
No.
1, 2, 1, 2.
I think we're good right now.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, here it is. Episode 1, Fatherhoods. What's up? This is KGB. We got Manny Digital, and we got DJ EFN. What's up, fellas?
What up?
So, yeah.
So,
we
what
are...
birthed this guy? No pun intended. What birthed this?
We are all fathers, and we decided that we wanted to talk about fatherhood from a hip-hop point of view, from a hip-hop perspective. Shed a little light in that direction.
Well, let's be quite honest here.
Yeah.
Podcasting has become a big thing. We all listen to podcasts. I think, Kay, you've listened to podcasts probably the longest out of all of us, I would think.
Yeah, probably.
I've had the pleasure and the luck, I guess, to say, to be a part of a successful podcast, Drink Champs. So,
make some noise? Should we make some noise for that?
No, I make too much noise over there.
You don't want to wake your baby. Also,
definitely not. And I think we just, the thing about podcasting I think is dope is that it's just about conversations of just everyday conversations. I mean, podcasting can be about anything that you are passionate about or that you have expertise about, or it could be about anything. And I think that we all got together and we've been thinking about other ways or other podcasts that we can potentially produce and do, being that we're either fans of or do podcasts ourselves. And Kay, you came up with the idea of this podcast. Take it from there.
all right. Well, yeah. No, you said it. I mean, I think I think we've all been, the three of us, been trying to figure out something cool to do, and we just all of a sudden realized, oh yeah, we're all fathers, and we're walking down the street talking about changing diapers and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Well, wait a secend. I'm sure there's other dudes out there talking about this, and there's no real
we're
outlet for that.
Regardless whether we record it or not.
Exactly. And some of this is all new territory. I know for me, I got a 6-year-old, so I was never super kid friendly, and having a kid was all new territory for me. And you're fresh in it right now.
Fresh off the boat.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny. Side story. My girl was telling me that a homegirl of hers said that her man found out that we had a baby before her friend did through Drink Champs.
Nice.
Just side note there. She was like, "What the hell?" He's like, "Yeah, I heard him on Drink Champs talking about he had a baby."
I think, Manny, are you the elder statesman in terms of kids at this point between the three of us? You had kids first, right?
So not technically.
Okay.
So of my own, I've got. I started. So my son's 5. So I think
Of your own?
Well, let me explain. Let me explain my fatherhood origin story.
Okay.
So I have 3 children. I talk about them like they're all mine because I've been in the picture for quite a while with my eldest. But she's 11, and I've been with her since she's about 3 years old.
Nice.
So I inherited her happily when I got with her mom, and then together we had 2. So I have a 5-year-old boy and a 2-year-old little girl.
Did you adopt?
Officially, no, but working on it.
And so what's the dynamic in that scenario? I mean, when you got with your then lady and she already had a child, I mean, were you like nervous about it? Was it ever a deal breaker, or did you automatically get along with her?
So I think men typically talk about these types of situations as a deal breaker generally. Right. I fortunately never really had an opinion on it. I always take everything kind of at face value and kind of let the chips fall where they may. And in this situation, I just kind of said, yo, let's just take it day by day and see how things go. And if things mature into a relationship, then I understand this is part of it. So it was never strange. Well, initially, the thought did come across my mind, like, damn, if this pops off,
right,
there's a child involved that I have nothing to do with, from the gate, that may seem difficult. But, I mean, it boiled down to the mother's trust in me and my ability to adapt to the situation. We've had our bumps and bruises, but I think if you speak to my daughter now, she'll be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's my dad. Things are as good as they can be.
What's up with her father, the biological?
Damn, we getting into it, huh?
Might as well.
I mean, I'm curious because that makes a big difference in the dynamic between you and her.
Yeah. So he's in and out. He keeps in touch sparingly, but the real glue from that side of the family is his mom. So she's very on top of things, reaching out and being the grandma for her. So she kind of helps keep her side of,
like his interests is through his mom.
Right.
And does the mom get along with you guys? Like,
yeah. No, she's awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. It's weird because you got like all these components of a family,
right.
But the love is real and the love is there. So that really trumps all the
right
stuff that could come about.
And so how does she feel now that you've got the two younger kids? Does she feel totally connected to them? Like I mean, not that she would tell you, but
I mean, that's her blood, regardless.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So the age disparity, I think, was our biggest concern. So she's 6 years older than the next child. And so for that reason, we thought there was going to be a big disconnect. There was going to be a lot of conflict as a result of that. But what it turned out being has been almost like she acts as like...
free babysitter.
Yes. But like a junior mom. I mean, she's 11, so you can't really call her that. But like, she's kind of like a junior mom. So through that lens and understanding that she's a big sister, she's taken that in stride. And fortunately, our first, child is a female. And because of the feminine qualities of nurturing that are genuinely in women mostly, that I think has helped create a really strong bond down the line with all her siblings. So it's been cool. But
interesting.
We can talk more about that later. I definitely did not expect to have this conversation.
Hey, man. Hey, this is the first time I hear about this, so I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, usually with guys, when other friends that I've had that have been in relationships with women who had children, it's always easier when the kid is a girl as opposed to a boy. Because, like, with the boy, it's this weird...
boys wild out.
And competition with the affection from the mom, so... It's a harder. Plus, as you as a little kid, if you got some dude stepping in,
I did that to my mom.
It's not easy.
Like I wished away tons of not
suitors.
I don't know, but yeah, potential boyfriends for my mom.
Yeah, so did I.
So,
and you're like, and you can't do anything either. I mean, you could try to, but it's also
I feel like
man,
crap now because my mom's still, she's by herself, and I'm like, damn, it's kind of my fault.
So wait, so y'all were like knuckling up, like.
Yeah, I was just difficult. I mean, I'm a difficult person, period. So that only made it worse, like.
I wasn't very difficult. I just didn't care for anyone very much, so I was like pretty out of the loop. It's like, whatever.
So wait, E, we didn't get to talk much about your fatherhood story. So where are you in life?
I have a 3.5-month-old baby, and learning fatherhood at a relatively older age.
So you're sleep deprivation mode right now.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think that I've always been on sleep deprivation mode. Like, I'm just not a good sleeper, period. But my girl's been pretty good about. Since she's nursing, it's like, to her, it's like no point in waking him up if, like, really it's just her that has to nurse the baby.
Right.
So, but I wake up anyways because I'm a light sleeper most of the time. Maybe not all the time. But she doesn't really try to bother me throughout the night. Like, she kind of handles the duties. It's during the day that I'll try to pitch in a little bit more. Again, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm doing a lot, a little more. I don't know what. Like I said, I said it before on take 2, and this is take 3. But the jury's out on whether I'm a good father or not. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to especially those. I think that first year was threw me for a crazy loop. I just totally I didn't feel like myself. Everything was just. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean, I was having fun, but still, it's like,
right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, look, to me, the best thing, obviously for anybody, when the baby is like all smiles and giggly, that's the best part of the baby.
Yeah.
You know, the baby experience. But for me right now, it's just learning to juggle, you know, work, and the type of work I do is not conventional. So it's not like I can go to a 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, I'm back, and then I can do certain things. It's all over the place. I'm kind of like on call. It's kind of like on me. And then the way I work, which is even more unconventional, I'm like I have an idea like in the middle of the night type of thing, and I got to go on the computer and I got to make a call, or I got to make a text, or I got to post something, or I got to do, it's like I'm all over the place. I go forward and backwards and forward and back. And so when you have a child in that midst of all that, it's just a little crazier.
Yeah. Plus there's just a parent, I mean, if you've never been around too many kids or just don't know too much about raising a baby, it's just like paranoid about everything.
Oh, you know, for sure. I mean, we're starting to get through some. Was it who was it that was telling me? I think I was talking to recognized from Mayday.
Yeah. Twin mode.
Yeah, he's got twins, and he told me there was like a certain stage where it's like, oh, things are starting to normalize a little bit.
Yeah.
And I remembered him telling me that, and I feel like he's like, oh, you're in. I forgot what term he used. You're like stage 1. Oh, you made it to stage 1 where it's like it's a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like we've gotten to stage 1. Even my girl has even said it the other day, like, because we were so paranoid about everything. Now we're not as paranoid. Now it's like getting used to like the baby just crying, you know, uncontrollably in the middle of, you know, you trying to do something or whatever. But yeah, you know, it's just a new life, and I'm just getting used to it.
I just want to share one thing real fast as you're talking about that. I'm thinking about last night. So my 2-year-old daughter. So she's, I guess, either an Olympic peer, or Pampers or Diapers just don't have the capability to hold what she's got going, or what most kids, I believe, are putting out there. So she wakes up in the middle of the night, and I'm like in a daze, and my wife, thank God, she gets up. She's got like this sixth sense where she's just like up immediately, and she goes, and I feel like she's taking a while to come back, and I'm like, yo, what happened? And she comes, plops the baby down next to me. It's like, I gotta go put this in the wash. And I was like, what happened? And she made it seem like it was like a tsunami of urine all over the bed, the baby's crib. And I'm like this happens, once, twice a week now. And I'm like, yo, I gotta call these diaper people, because they're not doing shit right.
Right.
And it's like to the point where I know it's not my own kid. Like, yeah, my kid probably, she's got some pipes so she could pee very well. But like, come on, bro. Like, this is a habitual thing. So 2 going on 3 years of age, that should be kind of under control, and it's not. And so now we're losing mad sleep when that's usually kind of the infant stage, and things should be normalized at this point, and it's not. So I have a gripe with the diaper industry right now.
Well, our issue with that is when our baby poops and it's liquidy, for some reason that's what seeps out. Like the other day was mad funny. I pick her up, and the thing, this is my baby's funny. She goes
Carvel
crazy.
Sunday.
She goes when she cries, usually it's because she peed her. She peed the pamper, and she goes crazy. But if she poops, she doesn't care. I don't know what's wrong with her. So then I pick, usually in the morning you pick her up, whatever. I forgot what time of the day this was, but I pick her up. I put her. I had swaddled her, and then I put her down. All I know is that all of a sudden I noticed like a stain on one of the places where I put her. I was like, "What is that?" And I go and I put it to my nose. I'm like, "Ooh, that smells stink." And then I look back, and like the back of her thing is wet, and I'm like, "Oh man!" Then the swaddle was brown, and And then come to find out, like, yeah, she pooped and went all over her back. And,
Oh man!
like today, she had an explosive one where my girl's like, "Come here," and I'm in the middle of poop, so I got mad. I'm like, "What?" And then the baby's naked. She's holding clothes dripping of poop. And go to the thing where the changing table. It's like a puddle of poop, and it's liquid poop, of course. So yeah, that's crazy.
My wife got our son started on potty training like around 5 months old.
Oh.
So
how long did it take him?
Not too long. I mean, we were out of diapers pretty quickly. Like during the day, maybe about 2 or 3 months in, he was out of diapers during the day, and then we'd have him in diapers at night, and then maybe another month or two. I think by one he was good. Yeah, he was good to go.
God bless. Yo, teach E so he can get the leg up. Because
yeah, teach me. Real quick, one thing I've noticed is that I guess since we're like talking about children and it's fatherhoods or whatever, we're like saying poop and pee. Like we could say shit and piss. What have we turned into? Like,
you know what it is? We're subconsciously.
We're exploring our gentler sides right here.
I like that you brought that up because you just checked me. Because typically when I'm talking about my kids or am around my kids, I try to keep the shit to a minimum.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless I'm pissed, and then I just let it fly. But you're right. We should just be...
That's right, because, usually when I'm talking about this stuff, it's either around my kid or in some situation where, it's other parents and the kids are around and, you don't...
But let's be honest with ourselves. It's shit and piss.
You're right. So wait, let's take a few steps back. Because this fatherhood's concept started, I want to say it was June of this year. And Kay, do you want to take us through kind of what you were thinking at the time? Because I have my POV on it, but I want to hear kind of the inception, and then we can.
And before you go into that, though, let's explain to the listeners that we are all in different locations as well.
Yep.
Manny's in New York.
Yay.
Heather's in LA, well, Santa Monica to be exact, and I'm in Miami, Florida.
Yep.
Why are you laughing? Why is that funny?
Because KGB's in LA.
No government names.
I said K. I did it. I said Heather.
Oh man! Now we're gonna beat.
Listen, if you think that we're gonna do a podcast that lasts for a long time and that your name isn't eventually, look, man, I let go. I never wanted anybody to know my full government name.
Oh man,
that shit is all over the place.
All right,
that's great.
This guy. You must not want us to have a successful. Listen, pseudo name. This guy.
Oh man!
All right, where were we?
So you were going to start telling us why this happened, how fatherhood was born.
No, I mean, we've had a couple different iterations of trying to, figure some stuff out, and for me, the idea of doing something in relation to kids or being a father and then having it tied into music and or hip hop culture or the stuff that we're into or we're working in, it's just been kind of scratching my head a little bit trying to figure that out. And then also just, not to give away this idea, but I think this stemmed out of this other conversation of just trying to find, media for our kids that wasn't the typical, the norm, that showed the diversity in people. You know what I'm saying? I found it difficult to find that for my son. So yeah, that was just that conversation that we were having, and that just being able to have these conversations. I noticed that we were talking about it anyway when we were on the phone. And then also starting to see, like you look at celebrities or rappers out there, and people are putting their kids out front and making it seem cool now to be a parent, as before, that was never the case. So I just see there's like a shift in what the narrative is, and I've had different iterations of this idea in the past of just trying to figure out like. How to incorporate the message of hip hop and kids, and how that relates and that kind of thing. So I think for us to be able to have these conversations, and these are probably conversations that plenty of other folks are having, and to let people know that that there's a network of people out there, and then also for us to bring on some guests, quote unquote famous people who are fathers, and kind of hear their stories and get their take on fatherhood, especially as it relates to being in the music industry, and there's like this. You see it's all flashy and all that kind of stuff on the outside, but how does that mirror with their life as being a parent, and that kind of thing. So I think it'd just be interesting for people to be able to get a more of a real look at people and fatherhood.
That's kind of what attracted me. So we all, in some way, shape, or form, are involved in hip hop. Me more distant than you two, because you guys have been in the industry in some way, shape, or form. Me primarily as a fan. And what rang true for me was, in hip hop, you don't tend to hear very positive things about fathers and their children. It's typically that, the stereotypical stuff. Oh, he's a deadbeat dad. He's got 25 kids and he don't pay attention to none of them. All this negative stuff. But in reality, and you see it more and more, as you mentioned, Kay, nowadays, there is a focus on showing, at least, in social media, you start to see the images of these artists with their children, and they start talking about them. You hear them in their lyrics nowadays more often. So that intrigued me, because having that discussion and trying to turn all that negative stereotypical stuff to shine a light on those that are actually involved and trying to be fathers is kind of silent and not very well heard. So for us to have a platform to be able to tell those stories, I think is going to be cool.
Yeah, and I think that hip hop is getting to an age now where it makes sense for us to talk about these things. There's hip hop grandfathers now. So, and I think that people, there's obviously the audience for hip hop is huge. And there's a lot of people that could relate to what we're talking about, on the standpoint from a father, and even from the standpoint of a mother who might want to listen to us to see the point of view from their significant other or the baby's father or whatever, because sometimes we misunderstand each other as fathers and mothers, and maybe this can be bridge that gap where both sides can kind of not both sides, because we're speaking from the father side, but I feel that you might hear more from a mother's side in the past than we've heard fathers being kind of honest about fatherhood, no pun intended. But I think you both are right. I think there is a movement now, I have noticed, where people are more proud to talk about being a father, and prouder to say I am a good father, or I'm trying to be a good father. I see a lot of artists, they even have brands that they're pushing and stuff like that. So shout out to Terminology, who has something.
Yeah, he's got his good dad gang.
Good Dad Gang.
Premium Pete has his presence over presence. So shout out to him.
Yes,
I think there was another podcast. I don't know how many episodes they had. It seemed kind of short lived, but there was another one called Urban Dads.
Yep.
There's the Rap Dad book that's out there. So there's anyone else we're forgetting that we don't know about. There's people out there, having the same kind of thought process. So
right.
Hopefully we'll have them on, and we can all chop it up as well.
For sure.
So now that we got the intro out of the way,
yeah,
and you listeners, hopefully that makes some sense for
you two listeners on the first episode.
hey, I love both of them.
Even if it's half of one,
right?
So I think it'd be interesting, and tell me if you guys agree. Since this is episode 1, your first experience as a dad. So, where were you when the baby was being born, and what was that feeling like for you as you were going through those motions?
Who are you speaking to?
Whoever you, since you spoke first, EFN.
Well, I was there. We had. Well, is that funny? You said, where was I?
I was there.
Actually, yeah, I guess there's plenty of dads who aren't there.
Yeah, there's people that aren't there. We had an interesting birth because we were going through this whole thing of doing it all natural. We were in a natural birthing center with a doula and midwives and all that stuff. And it ended up happening that she wasn't, I believe, dilating, if I'm correctly.
That's the right term. Yes.
Enough. She was like in labor for like, I think 48 hours or something crazy. So we were right across from a hospital, and one of our midwives is a nurse in that hospital system. So it was always, that's their plan. Like if something doesn't go right, we just whoosh you over to the hospital. And that's what ended up happening. So we ended up, it was like, it felt like, I might be wrong, but it was like 48, 72 hours worth of this ordeal where we ended up in the hospital, which kind of sucked because we did everything to do the natural childbirth, including paying for that, and we ended up in the hospital. But whatever, as long as everything, as long as the baby was healthy and my girl was okay, that's all that really matters. And then I was, whatever, we were there, they had to induce labor. She ended up getting an epidural, if I'm not wrong, which originally we weren't going to do any of that stuff, but it had to happen because she wasn't dilating. And then she gave birth, but she gave natural birth otherwise, other than that stuff. And I was right there while it happened. I was holding her leg. I was helping, saying push and the whole 9 yards, being as proactive as I could be. In fact, I started thinking afterwards, like, if I didn't hold this one leg, who the hell else was going to hold the leg?
Right.
Like, nobody else in the room willing to hold the other leg. There was like another person just happened to be there to hold the other leg. Everybody says that, you get emotional. I didn't get emotional. I didn't shed not one tear. I'm surprised. I did think I was going to get emotional, but I did not. I just feel like my adrenaline was pumping, and I just was all about the health and well-being of mother and child. And I was kind of like on protector, like, like fight or flight mode. Like, let's make it happen. Let's kill the game. I can't get emotional because if I get emotional, then, how am I going to protect? I think that's what my thought process was. And nothing. And then the baby was born. Everything came out healthy. I was there to, take pictures, write perfect pictures in the moment. And her grandmother was there and was able to see her 94-year-old grandmother. And my mom walked in right as the baby was being pulled out because she was in traffic.
Did you bite the placenta?
I did not. Placenta. We didn't even notice when the placenta came out.
All right, good. I'm glad, because I hear some crazy stuff out there. A homeboy of mine was in Singapore, and they were selling bags of placenta in the back of a taxi cab.
But we did make pills out of it.
Oh, yeah, we did that too.
Had it dried and
the doula did that.
My doula did that. And my girl ate, had the pills.
So wait, so segue. So Kay, was your experience similar?
Very much similar. Although we wanted to do all natural, and we wanted to do it outside of a hospital, but then we decided.
I thought you were gonna say outside. Period.
out on the beach. We're gonna do it out on the beach.
On a surfboard.
Right.
That's a hell of a water birth.
Hopefully there's no sharks around.
But we decided that, she wanted to do it natural, but in the hospital. Her water broke early, got to the hospital, and then it turned into, like, basically everything that we didn't want to have happen had to have, like, she had to get the epidural. She didn't want that. And it was like at least 24 to 48 hour labor process because she was pushing for the longest, and then finally, like, it wasn't happening. There was some blockage. So, like, after 24 hours of going through that kind of childbirth, and the doctor was finally like, all right, we got to do a C-section because, because the baby's going to start suffering soon. So at that point, both my wife and I looked at each other and we both burst into tears. It was because, you know what I mean? We weren't looking for that type of birth. And, and then we had gone through the whole, more so her than me, obviously, but I was there for the whole time. But it's just like, you're working towards doing it that way and doing it natural. And then, they pull the plug on that. So then, they rushed her into the operating room, and then I was there for that and looked over and saw, her cut open and then pulling the baby out, and I was like, oh shit, what is going on? And then I went and had me come over and cut the cord and then put him in my arms to carry over to my wife. And I was just kind of freaked out because, it's like I was worried about dropping the baby, and I'm also looking at him like, who is this guy? It's like, you know what I mean? Because that's one thing, you're there 12 months and you talking to the baby, and there's this baby that's inside of your wife, right? And then all of a sudden, one day you see the baby outside, and
it's crazy.
Just like, whoa, who are you?
It's like alien shit.
Yeah,
real.
It was wild. So, and then I brought over and then gave my son to my wife, and then she was holding on to him while they were stitching her up and all that good stuff. So it was crazy. It was crazy. So you
I didn't think I was gonna be able to cut the cord. Like, I thought I was gonna be too nervous, but I'm telling you, I don't know what took over me. I was like normal, like good.
So you had double duty on that, Manny.
Yeah, I've been through two of those. I'm gonna, I guess, talk about the first one. So my son. Now that you mentioned umbilical cord, I had been reading prior to, like, what to expect. As a dad in that moment, like what are the common mistakes people make as a dad in that room, so I could try to avoid that, right?
Yeah.
So one of them was thinking that the umbilical cord was like an easy thing to cut, like a string, right? So I'm in there, like, they gave me the scissors, and I'm in there like working out my fingers, ready to like do some damage, right? So when I get those scissors, I'm like if I was holding a Glock or something, like really like sturdy, right? And I go and I close the scissors on the umbilical cord, and it's like a thick rubber hose. It's kind of stuff. But I got through, but I almost didn't make it all the way through. So I'm looking around like, come on, baby. And I clenched and I finally broke through. But it was a lot more challenging than I thought. And I'm like, shit, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this shit so tough? And I actually asked the nurse. I was like, yo, what the hell's going on? And she's like, well, if you think about it, like, this is the child's means of getting
the lifeline, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's got to be like heavy duty.
It better be sturdy.
I was a little stressed about that because I was thinking, man, I don't want to give him a fucked up belly button if my cut is off.
What? But your cut determines that?
Nah, it doesn't.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But
not,
you get that
not knowing anything is basically.
No,
what
you want to know what's funny? Leading up to this, to the baby, I always thought that the doctor ties a knot that makes your belly button, and I used to be like, people who had like the innies or the outies are like, you got a ghetto ass doctor. Little did I know, it's really just about it falling off and how it falls off.
Mythbuster.
Yeah.
So the other thing that came to mind as you guys were talking was, when my wife was giving birth. So first of all, I have to give my wife props because she's had 3 children, natural birth.
Wow.
The last one, which should be kind of the most difficult, just given age and all that stuff, she had with no epidural, nothing.
Wow.
And that shit was crazy. So when my son, she didn't want me nowhere near her. And I'm in there, so I'm trying to be what EFN was talking about, like the protector, like making sure things are right and execution is good and she's comfortable. But she wanted no parts of me nowhere. Luckily, she allowed me to stay in the room. So I'm there when she's pushing. I'm holding her arm, and she's like batting me away, and I'm trying to like pat, rub her face. She's like, "Get the fuck away!"
Wow.
Like the demon, right? And then it gets to a point where she kind of allows me next to her, and then she grabs on. And she's giving like one of her final pushes.
You told me about this.
Yo, dog, I had a scar on my arm for like 2 months. It was like she stuck all of her nails into my arm, and for weeks it was like throbbing. But at the end of it all, like my son comes out, and I definitely shed a tear. I was trying to hold it back. I probably squirted like 2. 2 came out of my eyes, and then the first thing I did was like, because he didn't start crying immediately, so I thought that was weird, and I was like, "Yo, doc, what's going on? Why is he not crying?" And then a second or two later, he just did his normal thing, and that was that. But what was stuck with me, and I still see this in my head, is how purple he was. Like he looked like a purple little alien, which I thought meant he didn't get enough oxygen, but it was the combination of blood and all this stuff that, you know, is normal in birth that made him look like that.
You just reminded me really quick. Well, two things. One thing, we definitely got to give props to all of the mothers and all females out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because what they endure is we don't have to endure any of that. And that's insanity. So definitely props to all the women out there, all the mothers. And damn, I forgot the second thing was already. I'm Bacardi brain. No, you know what's funny? The reason why I just lost my train of thought is because my girl's texting me. And it's about, you know, where do I leave the baby now?
Does that mean we have to cut the podcast short?
I think that's the sign.
A little bit. I got probably like 10 more minutes. Damn, what was part 2 that I was gonna say to you, man?
Purple color.
Child.
What was the last thing that you said?
About purple.
Purple blood.
That's what it was. Okay. One thing that I've also learned in this whole process is if the newborns or babies have like this like bluish, purplish, like skin, like patch, it's indicative of like the melatonin in the baby's skin, like ethnic babies, or like babies that are tan, like, you know, color, like brown, black. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that because our baby has this patch in the back. It's like a purple patch. It doesn't last. It doesn't stay there forever. It's the skin tone like figuring itself out. And I always say the veterinarian and the pediatrician.
We might have to cut that piece out.
I tell my girl all the time, make an appointment for the vet because I have a puppy too, man. So the pediatrician is like, yeah, that's brown babies, or I don't know what term he used. You know what I'm saying? I'm a white Cuban, you know, like, so it's definitely on my girl's side. I tan well though, you know, it's my Italian side, but my Sicilian side to be exact. But yeah, it's definitely from my girl's Native American side and Guatemalan side, I would assume. I mean, I don't know. So, but yeah, that was new to me. I don't know if you guys knew that. Did your, like Manny, you're brown. Did you have did any of your children have that?
I didn't notice anything. No.
Like it's like a purplish, like it could either be a patch or it could be like a skin tone that's like
off a little bit.
No, it's like if you took a purple crayon or like a marker and you made like these like mashed up dots like that, like all over. It's like almost like
my son had that on the back of his head.
Yeah.
And then it went away after a while.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask my wife.
I don't know. I just figured
I've had too many drinks since then. I don't remember.
Any neo-Nazi racists, if they see that in their babies, they're gonna go, "What?"
Chill.
That's their litmus test for the Aryan race.
Shout out to 23andMe.
So I feel like we're running out of time here. What is it that we expect to happen next? I mean, as far as, you know, topically, because I think this was a great primer.
So this is us talking to ourselves, but at the same time explaining to our audience
what we're gonna do next.
What we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're gonna let it fly.
Now, look, I think we each have different expectations, which is, I think, perfect for what this podcast should be, because we're all at different stages of being fathers. Like me personally, like I'm gonna use this as a therapy session and a learning session,
as you should,
and a learning session because, you know, I'm a new father and I'm trying to figure things out. The dope thing about it is that we're all relatively close in age. Well, Manny, how old are you? 17?
18.
we're all relatively close in age, give or take a couple years for Manny. And you know, so we're in that sense, we're kind of like in mind frame, you know, we're in the same place. But I think us having children of different ages is perfect for us to have different issues or different things to bring to the table, different experiences. And you guys can help me, and while you're helping me, you might help another listener. And while I'm you know, like, I think all of these different stages that we're in can be very beneficial to other people listening. But at the same token, I hope that we can have fun with it, because we're not trying to be educators necessarily either. You know, I want people to be entertained while they listen to us as well.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my goal, at least.
Yeah, I mean, all we can do is, share our own point of views and stories, and listen to what everyone else is talking about as well, and and hopefully people, because I know there's plenty of guys out there who just, they might have too much pride to want to ask questions, or
sure.
or think that they got to suck it up and just figure it out on their own. So it's nice to be able to have an outlet where people could hear some stuff that maybe they're going through as well. So
yeah, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Sometimes we, like, for example, like with Manny, he wasn't necessarily all the way ready to talk about his situation. No, for real, like we might have some, eventually, it's going to take some time to unravel some of the things we really need to know or want to know about what's going on with, the progression of being a father or whatever.
Yeah, and also what, like our experiences growing up, and, what our family makeup was, and how that contributes to the kind of fathers that we're going to be. And,
that's a great point.
Like looking back and saying, all right, these are the things that I'm not going to do. These are the things that I missed out on. This is, I'm going to change the cycle for this go around for my kid,
Which is scary, because I'm afraid that as much as someone might say this is exactly what I'm not going to do, we continue to do it. And maybe us talking about it will ensure, at least for me, that, I don't do it. So yeah, that's actually really important. I think maybe in the next one, maybe we should talk about our upbringing, just to like have an understanding for ourselves and our audience, so that we can, moving forward, we can like refer back to that. And, I don't know, we'll have like a therapy session.
Yeah. No, that's real.
Even if no one's listening, we're going to benefit from this.
Yo, I'm having a blast already. So,
and then when I introduce beer, that'll be when I had a rough day with the baby.
I'll get my scotch bottle out and get ready to rock.
Yeah, we'll do that once in a blue moon. I have enough with Drink Champs already.
I almost brought one to the show right now.
Yeah, I got my Zevia. No, we're not paid by them, but I got it. But they can pay us if they want to.
Well, right. I guess it's let's see, it's about dinner time for me. I got a kid to feed. I think you guys.
I got to
too.
babysit. My girl wants to go to CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that funny, man? Why are you laughing at me, man?
No, you're like, I got to babysit. My girl's got to go to CrossFit.
What does that mean? I don't understand.
You sound almost jealous, like you wanted to go and leave her.
CrossFit?
Yeah.
I already went to CrossFit.
Oh,
doesn't ever show, but I went.
Yo, before we go, I got a dope recipe.
Come in, babe.
Share with you guys.
The girl's knocking to, I think, drop off.
Yes.
I always have this bad thing where I lock my door. Excuse me, guys. You can keep talking, Manny.
What's your recipe?
I got a dope recipe that I need to share with you guys. It's to make plátano pancakes.
Ah, okay. All right.
I'll give it to y'all later. But actually, I might even do a little something to show the fans. We could do some video content to
maybe post that on IG. How about?
There you go.
A little extra content.
There you go. The overtime.
Right.
Hey,
there she is. There she is. Wow.
Those are your uncles.
What's up?
Yeah, she's right awake, man.
So for the listeners, E's little girl is there in his lap right now, ready to rock.
Yep. And she's a ticking time bomb, so we gotta wrap this up, because any minute now she'll be like, podcast what?
So wait, so should we have a closing? I think we're just gonna have to evolve to a closing.
Yeah.
I mean, what were you thinking a closing would be like?
I don't know. It got to be hip hoppy.
Where are we at time wise?
We're at 43 minutes.
Wow.
How about
if you guys want to shoot for an hour? I'm willing to do it as long. Maybe the closing is when she cries. That's amazing closing.
That'd be dope.
Or we can leave it at be a father to your child.
Ah, the song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have to be our intro too.
That has to be the intro. Yeah.
There you go.
We gotta get Ed O.G on the show.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So we can talk about
what
made him make that song, especially back then.
Right. Another thing we could do is look for hip hop songs that talk about fatherhood, and kind of like, that could be a segment in the show every once in a while. There's, I mean, Dear Mom was not about fathers, but we could kind of like go about parenting in general,
Yeah. So I think there might be I think those 2 songs.
Nah, there's more. We just don't like the one Nas has about his daughter.
Oh yeah, true.
There's plenty. There's songs out there, or there's lyrics that like a famous, Biggie or whoever, like famous artists that have mentioned them being fathers, and we can like dig into that lyric and decipher it if we want.
Yeah.
Want to take it hip hop? What do you think, Emmy?
She's stoic.
That's the perfect meme. Just capture her face. It's like, this shit is bootleg, Dad.
Right. It's like,
Pamper Ninja? You're the Pamper Ninja.
Like, shut up and play with me already.
Yo, look. You see that? You see how she gets? Look.
Oh.
It's coming.
Is that you looking for it? Oh, there she go. Dad, not in public, Dad.
All right, man. So we just need one. We just need one of our kids to burst into the doors right now and start screaming.
You see, what's that one where the dude? What is it? The dude's talking and the kid's in the background. What is that one?
The nanny has to come in and try to rescue or something. Yo, that was hilarious.
Which one was that?
I gotta find it.
It's like a meme now out there.
Yeah, like some guy was doing like it wasn't CNN, but it was like a news.
Yeah, it was like he was like a pundit on one of these news things. And they do it Skype. They do it via Skype. Then the kid runs in the back.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
It's hilarious. All right.
All right. I think we're good, fellas.
Okay. I was gonna tell a story, but I think I want to wait till the next podcast.
Well, give us a preview.
A preview? No, it's nothing juicy, man. I made it sound dramatic just for the listeners to latch on to episode 2, bro.
It's a juicy diaper.
It was a whack teaser.
So wait, before we do get out of here, and I mean, this could be a conversation off the air, but I think who cares? We're not that professional. No. What is it? What's the regular release dates that we're trying to go, or days of the week?
I think we're gonna. We wanted to shoot for every other week, right? For a release.
Yep.
And then now the days that we record, that's a different story. We're gonna have to juggle that around.
That's a part of the fatherhood struggle.
Yeah.
We might even have to, in some weeks or sometimes, maybe piece together some episodes.
Yeah, this is true.
Look, guys,
struggle.
Look, the audience will understand because what we have to talk about is likely going to be useful.
Yeah. So, I'm interested in hearing the potty training stuff from Kay.
That could be an episode on its own. I need to hear that.
I need that in my life.
Oh, believe me, you'll be happy, man. You don't want to have shitty diapers for a huge portion of your life, man.
Oh, and one thing that I do want to talk about, because me and my girl have been talking about it, is that she's starting to like get amused by cartoons. And was it UK that didn't let your kid watch TV?
Nah, I let him watch the TV.
I was worried because I was like, Kay's my role model, and I'm such a bad, follower.
No, believe me. Once my wife went back to work and she had to start traveling,
right?
I needed some
TV nanny,
some busy town mysteries in my life.
So she's definitely amused by cartoons and the colors and stuff. And me and my girl have been talking recently because she's just starting to like get amused by it. And I like to put on like one of the things that's always on and amuses me as well is Teen Titans.
Oh yeah.
But it's not age appropriate. But I'm like, she's a baby. She doesn't know.
So she won't know it now. But once she starts talking a bit and kind of then you'll want to flip the script a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
I think it's all colors and visuals.
Yeah, right now
and all
it's all
that
color.
Yeah.
But
we could be totally wrong. There might be someone
some hidden agenda.
Someone who actually knows something who's listening to this saying these guys.
Well, that's the point. And you know what? That's another thing too. Like, we need to open up our emails or whatever to our listeners because, obviously we're gonna get a lot of crackpots out there that just hit us up telling us we don't know crap. But if there's someone that has some sensible advice, or even a professional, or someone who claims to be a professional, we want to take in this information. We have things to learn too.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's never. I guess there's.
And we could actually read advice that's being sent to us, and we could decide if it's valid advice or not.
Yeah, you really have to. I mean, for me, what I learned is it's like you just kind of like everyone's going to have an opinion on what to do and how to all this, and you just gotta kind of pick and choose what seems to work for your life and the nature of your child as well, because every kid's a little bit different, and there's all these, you start reading all these articles. Don't let your kid watch TV. Don't let your kid do this. Blah blah blah. And it's just like general across the board, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know, having a little TV every now and then helped me get through some, some times.
I'm trying to get her to hold the iPhone. No, I'm playing.
Don't worry, she's gonna do that real soon.
Well, right now she's in front of a big iMac.
Yeah. So since we were just talking about socials, if you guys listening, guys and gals listening, do want to reach out to us. We've got a Twitter handle and an Instagram handle. Both are Fatherhoods with an S pod, all one word. Fatherhoods pod, Twitter and Instagram, and we'll hopefully be posting and doing a whole bunch of stuff on there. So mess with us, guys.
Yeah,
indeed.
Cool.
That's K's famous. Indeed.
I didn't know that was famous.
It's famous.
I guess it is. If you're telling me it's famous, then it's famous.
I don't hear it from many people, so it's K famous. Indeed. It's like a movie quote. Indeed.
It's just a way to say something without having to talk too much. You know what I mean?
That's like a hell of the big full stop. Indeed.
Yep.
Indeed, guys.
All right, Scallywags.
All right.
I need to eat, so Manny Digital is signing off.
All right.
Fellas, until next time.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.